Good morning, everybody. We're here today to take you to Seattle, where a 20-year-old young man named Nikita Tyukalo. He was just charged with human trafficking with other couple people, and we're going to get right into this case. So you hold your phones up high, you get ready to watch this, hit the like button, subscribe, and let's get into it. According to prosecutors in Washington State, Nikita Tyukalo allegedly operated a sophisticated online exploitation enterprise centered around adult content platforms such as ONLYFANS and Chatterbait. Investigators claim that he had associates recruited young women by advertising a luxurious lifestyle, expensive homes, social media fame, and the possibility of earning large amounts of money through online content creating. So without further ado, let's get into this story and see what really happened to this kid.
Exclusive video obtained by King 5 shows one of dozens of parties inside the Bellevue mansion on May 15th. Police shut it down that night. Less than a month later, the same mansion is now at the center of a human trafficking case. Today, prosecutors charged 21-year-old Nikita Tyukalo with 4 counts of human trafficking, money laundering, and leading organized crime. For one survivor who came to court today, the details felt familiar.
I am a survivor of human trafficking, so this is really important that people come forward, that people speak out. I didn't for myself.
She's not tied to the case, but came to support the victims. She asked to stay anonymous for safety reasons.
You know, it's put out there like it's a modeling opportunity, and they get video of you doing very compromising things and threaten to release it to your friends, your family, and before you know it, you are stuck.
Charging documents describe allegations of physical violence, threats, and coercion. One woman told investigators she became suicidal and alleged Tyukalo handed her a loaded gun and told her to do it. Another woman told police she was forced to crawl on the floor like a dog, while Tyukalo allegedly pointed a gun at her. The same victim described being grabbed by the throat and strangled during an assault inside the home.
Human trafficking cases are some of the most difficult charging documents to read. It's even more difficult for the victims to go through.
On a still active Instagram account, Tyukalo projects a life of wealth, posting pictures of cash, exotic cars, and stacks of cell phones. The account also advertised for relation managers and later solicited salespeople for digital products, offering housing in Puerto Rico or Miami. Prosecutors say recruitment was a key part of the alleged operation.
This was brought to us by Bellevue Police, who had really serious concerns about not only the number of victims, but the extent of how long this is alleged to have gone on.
Tyukalo remains in the King County Jail, held on $5 million bail. He's expected back in court Wednesday for his arraignment. Reporting in studio, Bridget Chavez, King 5 News.
So Nikita Tyukalo is a 20-year-old man coming out of Seattle, who actually, coming out of high school, had a pretty promising basketball career. Yes, he was playing basketball in school, and he actually was pretty good at it.
Nikita
As you can see, just like any other kid going to school, playing sports, just seemed like a normal kid. But as the years went on, that would change. He is now being accused of human trafficking, multiple women. Right now, there's 7 women that came out and said this. But there is a lot of alleged accusations of minors being involved in these parties and in this operation that he has going on. Nikita is not the only one in this operation, right? He has 2 or 3 other people who are directly involved in operating this business, or should I say illegal business. So we're going to take a look at a clip of this girl, this young lady here that I'm going to pull up on the screen, who talks about this kid that I'm going to show you near the end named Rami. And she's going to explain some things that she alleges he did.
Small disclaimer, this video isn't for clout or TikTok views. This is just to spread awareness, especially if you live in Washington. And also, everything in this video is alleged for legal purposes, okay? Anyways, let's get into this traumatizing ass night. So I met Rami through Snapchat because I'd heard about the parties he was throwing, and so he did end up inviting me to one of his parties and offered to pick me up. So he picked me up with 2 of his other friends, Daniel and Navon. And right off the bat, it was just like weird vibes. Like they were talking about like the Big O, Eiffel Tower, and just making these really weird sexual jokes towards me. And mind you, this is my first time meeting Rami and Navon. I kind of knew Daniel previously back when I was like 16, but nonetheless, that's still really weird to say to somebody, just in general. But anyways, let's just skip forward to the important part. So long story short, they ended up picking up 4 more girls. The first 2 girls were 16 years old, and then the other 2 girls were 15. But I didn't know this until the next day, because they didn't talk at all. I only talked to the 16-year-old girls. And to be honest, hanging out with 15-year-olds, already weird as fuck. Hanging out with 16-year-olds, not that much better. It was just a really weird situation. But at this point, it was like 4 in the morning. I was so sleep deprived that I was just like not really paying attention to how odd this was. And by the way, Rami told me he was 18. Turns out he's actually 17. I'm 18. I do not fuck with that. I do not fuck with minors, bro. Unlike them, I guess. But anyways. So all of us end up arriving to Daniel's house in Mukilteo, not the trap house, his main house. If you know, you know. And we all go to his room. He ends up bringing out this box of liquor, and they were trying to offer drinks, but I was like, fuck no, I do not trust that shit. I'm sorry. And then this is where it got kind of weird, because it was the 2 15-year-old girls that went upstairs, and then Daniel followed right behind them, and then Rami ended up following a few minutes later, and then Daniel ended up following like 10 minutes later. So that was just me and the 2 16-year-old girls in Daniel's room. And allegedly, me and the 2 girls go to the bathroom to talk about how Rami has 20 rape allegations and how I need to get the fuck out of there. Actually, all of us need to get the fuck out of there. So it's like 5 in the morning. Nobody's gonna come pick me up. Nobody's gonna pick those girls up. So I decided to go upstairs to try to ask the guys if they could Uber us home or drive us home. And to my surprise, I walk up to that door, and you can only imagine what I heard going on in there. Let's just put 2 and 2 together here, okay? So I start pounding on the door. I'm trying to get in. The door's locked. I go downstairs to try and find something to pick the lock with. I did find something. I picked the lock, but somebody was like pressed up against the door, so I couldn't get in. And then after a couple minutes, it ends up being Daniel that opens the door, and he leaves the room. So I just see one of the 15-year-old girls and then Rami, and we're not going to talk about what happened in that room, but Navon and the other girl, nowhere to be found, even though I literally saw them go upstairs. So I follow Rami downstairs to Daniel's bedroom, and his explanation for everything that just happened was, oh, I wasn't participating in any of it. I was just filming Daniel and the girl to send it to the ASU frat leader. I genuinely wish I was joking or lying about this. Like, genuinely, what the fuck? And for context, the reason why he said that is because Daniel's older brother is friends with the ASU frat leader guy. I can't remember what his name is, but that's why he said that, I guess. And he's saying it's like some initiation thing, but I'm like, why does it have to be with a 15-year-old? Why do you have to record it? Like, what the fuck? It was all just like, he was making the situation even weirder than it already was. It was so funny because I know in his head he probably thought that he was like saving his ass and he was gonna make it all better, but he just made it like 100 times worse. Because what the fuck do you mean you're filming it to send it to the ASU frat leader? What the fuck? Anyway, long story short, they ended up getting me an Uber home, and then I think it was 2 days later that I did file a police report.
So as a lady in the video mentioned, we have Rami, who's here on the far left side, and then we have Vaughn, who's either on the far right or in the middle. And these 2 men are a part of the operation, with Nikita, who is the operative leader. He is the leader of this operation, right? So everything falls first at him, and then the rest of these guys.
So I had Nikita and his other partners trying to recruit me when I was 16 and 17 years old through social media. And it was, you know, repeated messages of trying to get me to join their OnlyFans house.
What did they say?
It was basically them saying that I would make a lot of money, that there's opportunities to make money, opportunities to work. It was kind of along the lines of that.
Authorities allege that once women joined the operation, they became increasingly dependent on the organization. Prosecutors claimed that the women were encouraged or pressured to move into luxurious homes rented by the group in Bellevue area near Seattle. Investigators described their residence as serving both as living spaces and as locations for content production and parties. According to court documents, the women allegedly had limited control over their online accounts and finances. Prosecutors state that organizers managed passwords, controlled access to earnings, and distributed only small amounts of money to the women while retaining most of the revenue. One account reportedly generated hundreds of thousands of dollars, while the associated creator allegedly lacked meaningful control over the funds. Nikita has denied the allegations and entered a plea of not guilty as of June 26. No convictions has occurred, and the allegations remain subject to judicial review. The investigation is ongoing, and the authorities have indicated that additional witnesses and charges may emerge as the case proceeds. Nikita's bond is set at a $5 million bond, so he's not getting out. He can't afford to get out. So, you know, all that internet flexing and all that, oh, we rich and all that shit these niggas is posting on there. Yeah. And like I said, a couple of his friends are going to be going down. And there's one in particular I'm going to show you before we close out this video. And his name is Rami. He's the one that be throwing all the parties right now in Seattle. He's the one that be pushing this shit still. And they want his ass in jail. And it looks like he's probably involved. You know, there's a lot of messages between him and other people within the community. You know, videos of him talking about these parties, so on and so forth. But y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments about this case, man. You know, this is actually a crazy one. You know, we have these young kids, these young boys out here, you know, they trying to get to the American dream, man, you know, get that bag, but they ain't doing it right, man. This is not it. This is not it. Forcing minors and other young women to do things they don't want to do on these websites is insane. And if any of this stuff comes to stick, I hope that all these niggas go to jail, because this is disgusting. And I'm tired of hearing about these types of guys taking these women and exploiting them for money. Why don't you guys get a damn job or start your own business and do something right? Why you got to take these women and do that? And if these women want to do that, then maybe you should be paying them correctly. But, you know, that's just my opinion. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments, man. What y'all think gonna happen with this case, man? I'm gonna keep y'all updated with anything new. Y'all like, comment, and subscribe. I'm out.